in here, and you know who's called the Causeway Classic?
Who?
Our next guest,
What?
Greg Papa. Yeah, I was calling a game when he was doing it on TV.
Look at that, Greg Papa, the voice,
of everything,
the voice of our generation.
Yes,
that's who he is. He joins us.
I remember that game so well. Did Sac State not have a wide receiver in that game, Jason, that just went off? The right school. There was one wide receiver in that game that I was so impressed with. Was he a Sac State Hornet? Which side were we on?
Yes, and I think if I remember right, you called the game at UC Davis.
Yeah, great field. What a stadium. I love that stadium.
And I think it was Tony Washington who had 3 touchdowns in the game, I believe.
Well, if he had 3 touchdowns, it was probably him.
Yes.
Whatever happened to him? Did he ever get a sniff at a tryout in the NFL?
I think some sniffs, and some arena in Canadian Football League after that. But yeah, he had one heck of a cause. He was a good receiver too. You're right.
He was really smooth. It was impressive. I love that stadium.
Yeah.
I love the press box. I love the feel of honestly, and I was doing Raider games then. I thought this is better than whatever the hell place we were playing in, then McAfee Coliseum and Edmonton Associates Coliseum or the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, whatever it was. That stadium was one of the best that I've ever worked in. The TV booth was right at the 50-yard line. It was an amazing vantage point. The booth was huge. The game was like a late Saturday afternoon game. It was crispy later in the year, obviously, November football. I remember it well.
Yeah.
It was a hell of a fun day and that wide receiver. That's the one that I came away remembering. Tony Washington.
There you go.
How old is he? Niners need a little bit of wide receiver. You think? How old is that guy? Is he 40 yet?
I don't think he's quite that age, but he's up there. I don't think we've ever asked Greg, Dave, have we, about what's your favorite broadcast location in the NFL and maybe the bottom?
Not counting Oakland, San Francisco, or San Francisco, just to make it easier for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's my favorite broadcast location or stadium?
I don't know. Maybe it might be the same, or is it not?
And you know what I would say? I'll make it all one. There's nothing like Arrowhead. I mean, Lambeau's Lambeau.
Right.
So let's take Lambeau out of it.
Okay.
And Lambeau's booth we've changed, but and I went to Arrowhead every year, obviously, with the Raiders. So when I first started with the Raiders in '97, the broadcast booth was really low. It was like on the 3rd floor. I remember getting off the elevator there and all the busts of all the Hall of Famers. Right, Lenny Dawson was matriculating down the field right in your face when he got off the elevator. And the broadcast booths were just, I think, on the 3rd level because it was an older stadium. You know, it's there in Buffalo are the two, outside of Lambeau and Soldier Field, are the two oldest in football. So the broadcast booths were just so low. And there's a famous story that I actually got to witness was Al, after a tough Chiefs loss, getting on that elevator. And Carl Peterson, then the Chiefs GM, president, whatever he was, tried to talk to Al. And Al just gave him a look like, "Not now, Carl." And he shut him off right there. And Carl didn't say a word. Carl had his full-length leather jacket all the way to the ground. Anyway, so that booth was incredible. It was open air. And it's Kansas City. You could smell the barbecue. Doing the Raiders games there. I did do one 49er preseason game from there recently. The TV booth is in that area. But doing the Raiders, they're all giving you the finger. I remember driving in on the bus in the morning, and there'd be like a blue-haired 80-year-old woman, cooking her ribs, and she's like, "That's you!" She's like, it was classic. So it was Raiders and Chiefs, and it was so that whole environment. But then they decided when they put a lot of money into Arrowhead, and they put I don't know, $500 million into Arrowhead. It's like a $500 million improvement. What did they do? They took the radio booths and they moved them up to the sky, and they decided to enclose them with glass, like they're in a aquarium. So I was like, we went from the best broadcast location in the entire league at Arrowhead, and you could smell it and feel it and see it. Now I can't smell anything, I can't feel anything, and I can't see anything because I'm on the top rim of the stadium. So Arrowhead went from the best overall in so many ways but it's still Arrowhead. It's still Arrowhead. I love that place. I miss it. I know
this is a really dumb question. So, of course, instead of waiting till we're off the air to ask it, I'm going to ask it and embarrass myself. Arrowhead's an homage to the Chiefs and all that, right? It's not the water, like the sponsor.
Oh wow! You mean Perrier?
Yeah, like Arrowhead and
yeah.
all Crystal and all that.
Did they ever get a water deal?
That's what I wonder.
I wonder. I must have all those years. So I gotta look into that. Yeah. No, it's. What's their chant? No, that's the Atlanta Braves.
No, Greg.
No, I know.
No, it's Florida State University.
Hey.
Come on.
The Braves also. I can see Hanoi Drain sitting right next to Ted Turner during those playoff games. So I don't know.
Before we get going on our Niners here, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. Hey, how about those Kings, Greg?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Thanks to the Warriors.
How long is the owner going to be patient here?
I didn't hear that. Sorry, if connection broke up a little bit.
I mean, Vivek's not praised. I remember him firing Mike Malone when they were pretty good.
Yeah.
So I love Bowtie Doug. I love Doug.
Yeah.
As a person, as a player, as a broadcaster, and man, he went off the other day. I don't know exactly what he was talking about, but have they won a game since? And
not since the Warriors.
Wow. No. One thing is, as bad as the Kings are, I think the LA Clippers situation is equally as bad, if not worse, with the payroll and the level of expectation. It's one thing to be bad. When you double down and you're bad and you're old, that's not good. And right now, both those teams the Warriors are old and they're up and down. They can be bad some nights, but they're also good some nights. But I feel for you, brother, and I feel for Doug Christie. And I know that owner has no patience. So Vivek, once in your life, try to be patient during the holiday season and give him time to get the system in. But it's not good what's going on. And now Sabonis is out for so long. So I don't know. It's going to be it's going to start slow, but hopefully Doug will teach him the foundation of how you become a winner, because he knows. And you just got to ride it out, but he may not get that luxury, and it's going to be ugly. There's no doubt. It's tough to watch right now.
Well, once again, public service message. We said this earlier. If you think things are bad out there, if you think things are not going well, just remember we have many people in our listening audience that are Raiders, A's, and Kings fans.
Oof.
And
I'm well aware.
They've been into it. Hey, look, these 49ers, I was noticing some interesting things when it came to the standings, and I know that's just a schedule-related thing, but my goodness, say what you want about our Niners, who are at 7-4, but they're 7-2 in the conference. They're 4-1 in the division. I mean, I just bring that up because it seems like this is going to be a horse race for playoff spots. I think the odds would say the Niners are probably more likely to be a wild card team than the NFC West champions, and they do have some pretty good scores in some of those columns when it comes to tiebreaker, but you got to win the game in front of you, Greg. There's a radio take.
Well, and they did beat the Rams, and they did beat Seattle. So, I mean, the first tiebreaker, if it's two teams just trying a tiebreaker, it's head-to-head.
Yep.
So the Niners have beaten the Rams. They have beaten Seattle. But the Rams obviously beat the Niners. They're probably the biggest game of the year. And this game Monday night is going to be huge. The game right after Christmas on Sunday Night Football, December the 28th against Chicago, is going to be huge. And whenever that Seattle last game of the year, that's a TBD, that is going to be huge. So right now they're 7-4, and technically they're in third place in their own division. But I think they have the best 7-4 in the league, and probably the best 7-4 I've ever seen. First of all, they've already gone 5-2 on the road, so they played 7 road games versus 4 home games. That's going to some degree, get to 9-8. And then, as you mentioned, they're 4-1 in their own division, which is a tiebreaker when it comes to winning your division, but maybe more applicable on what we're overall looking at with the West or with the NFC is they're 7-2. In the NFC, every single one of their victories this year have been in the NFC, and a couple of their losses have been AFC losses. So it's a solid 7-4. Problem is you got 2 really good teams.
Yeah.
And I watched that whole Rams-Seattle game. I still think Seattle's better. But Sam just did not play a good game, and he threw it to the wrong guys 4 times. And despite that, Seattle was right there at the end. Now, do you expect to make a 61-yard field goal? It's pretty tough. I know guys are bombing them, but that's hard. So Jason Myers didn't make it, but when they play again, it'll be in Seattle, and that could be a different outcome. And maybe that's enough to pull the Raiders the Niners into a playoff spot. Wow, that was weird. That was chemo fog. Don't blame that on my mind. But this game, when you look at, the 6-7s, and I am moving my hands here to accentuate that. No. Everybody on earth. Everybody on earth. The bellow ball, you're killing me. So anyway, Carolina 6-5.
Yeah.
And the Niners are 7-4. And right now, you're looking at a playoff spot in, 7. But if you lose this game, that's one you don't want to have go the other way. Carolina, David, could win the NFC South. Tampa Bay is playing Sunday Night Football this week against the Rams at SoFi. I think you'd have to think, we'll see how the game goes. You never go. But if they lose that game and Carolina comes in here and beats the Niners on Monday Night Football, guess who's in first place in the NFC South? The Carolina Panthers would be amazing. Now, I think the Rams will beat Tampa, or we expect them, but you never know. I always come on here every Friday and I build up the opponents. Just appropriate fear. Greg Popovich taught me always have appropriate fear of your opponents. And a lot of it I don't have to, it's not contrived. There's something about the other team. Like last week's game in Arizona was ravaged by injuries. They didn't have a lot of people, but I was afraid of that pass rush with Josh Sweat on the outside and Calais Campbell on the inside, and they caused problems. Josh Sweat had a sack in the game, and but Brock was able to get the ball out, and it's so great to have big brain Brock back. But I'm looking at Carolina. I don't see anything they're great at. I see very few things they're even above average at. In every statistical category, and the 32-team NFL, they rank in the 20s. They don't commit a lot of penalties. That's good. So they're in the top 10 there, and they're also a top 10 team in rushing the football. They run the ball. Rico Dowdle, number 5, is going to be the key to the entire game, and they've got to stop this guy. And he is tough. He has the combination of power. He is a big, thick, violent runner, and he's very patient. He's got a little remember Le'Veon Bell, the old back that used to play with the Steelers? He kind of waits a little behind for their double team blocks, and then he just goes. And he's got power, and it's all straight ahead. The guy's got like 17 runs this year of 12 or more yards, and he hasn't been their number one back. First 4 games he wasn't. Chuba Hubbard was. He took over in week 5, and he's like 4th or 5th in the NFL in rushing. He's got more rushing yards than Christian. So he is the secret to the game. But they want to play like the Niners. They want to run the ball. They want to play time of possession. And they want Brock and George and Christian to watch the game over on the Niner bench. They don't want them to get into the game. So basically, they want to Niner the Niners. I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I don't think they're as good at it as the Niners. And I think if the Niners just play a solid, above-average B game, don't turn the ball over. If Rico Dowdle comes in here and runs for 200 yards, you got a problem. I will grant you that. Is he going to be able to do that? I think he'll rip some runs off, and he will be a problem. But I think, are they going to score enough to be able to do that and move the ball consistently enough? This quarterback they have, man, is he a little guy? They list him at 5'10", 204. I'm not buying the 204. He may be 184. I mean, that guy, he may be the smallest person that's ever played quarterback in the NFL. I mean, Doug Flutie, they think they listed Doug at 5'10", but what was he really? But Doug is thick. He's got big legs. Russell Wilson has got big, thick legs. Brock's not even 6'1", but Brock's got those baby Bosa quads. This guy looks like your paper boy. But we don't have paper boys anymore, so I don't even know what I'd call him. He's just like he looks young. His body is young. And his last name is Young. And when you hit him sometimes, I even feel for him. He got hit a couple of times last week in Atlanta, and I was like, oh, my God. I hurt. Like, what happened to him? And then he gets up, and he's pretty tough, I got to say, but he's just not very big in any regard. He's a capable thrower of the football. Tetaroa McMillan, their rookie wide receiver from Arizona, is the real deal. So they're 2 guys you got to worry about on offense. Or number 4, McMillan, and number 5, Rico Dowdle. Beyond that, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I'm right, and the Niners just handle this team. But I just don't, unless the Niners just play a bad game and a sloppy game, and with Brock back, I just don't see that happening. But It's possible. If the Niners just play a solid game and play like the Niners, I really am having a hard time building up the appropriate level of fear for the Carolina Panthers.
Greg, I know last week when we talked to you, it was exciting to get Brock Purdy back. You said 30 for Purdy. They went north of that to get 41. I don't know. I'm sure some of that was Arizona, but I just thought he and the offense looked smooth, efficient, and that's going to be the best part of this team going forward. Do you think they can be a team that keeps living above 30 points?
Well, I mean, certain teams, we know certain matchups, and Carolina's defense is solid. They gave up the most points last year defensively of any team in the history of the NFL. Now, we are playing 17 games, so it's a little deceiving, but they gave up like 536 points, I think the number was, and that's over 31 a game. They are. I'm talking about them not being great in any one area. They've improved their defense impressively. They're giving up like 22 or something a game. It's pretty incredible from where they were a year ago. So, but as far as, scoring 30 a game, I think you can score 30 on this team. And then you go to Cleveland, that may be hard. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator in Cleveland, is really good. Kyle's had a hard time with him historically, no matter where he's been. And you expect some weather there in, Lake Erie and then Indy, Chicago, Seattle. I don't know. There'll be some games where, high 20s may be where you go, and would that be enough? But the point is you're going to be more explosive offensively, the way Brock sees the game, the way he has full autonomy at the line of scrimmage. That can call to get George Kittle his touchdown was just brilliance by Brock. I don't know what he saw that tipped him that it was man coverage and not zone, but he saw it, he smelt it, something tipped him. I think it was a hand signal by their stacked linebacker, and Brock just got to it. And now you've got your weapons back, whether or not if Brandon Ayuk comes back. You got Juwan Jennings, he's back and healthy to play X. You've got Ricky, obviously, that can play split end, which is Z or F. And you've got Demarcus Robinson, Kendrick Bourne. You got other guys you can mix in there. And you've got Christian and you got Juszczyk, so you got a lot of weapons you can turn to. So, yeah, I think with Big Brain Brock fully functioning and his feet, and in particular his right big toe, which is the one he had the turf toe on, he looked great. You could tell right away he was healthy. He was lining his feet up. He was driving off that back foot. And looking at it, I'm not sure he was ever right completely all year before this game. I think the Seattle game, he went into the game physically fine, but mentally they just cloud your mind. That defense is difficult to deal with. Mike McDonald, their head coach, probably had the best defensive game plan of anybody against Brock in his career, including Spagnuolo in the Super Bowl. You remember that Christmas night game against Baltimore when he threw the 4 picks? About a minute into the second half, he threw 4 interceptions. That was against Mike McDonald. Mike was the defensive coordinator of the Ravens then, and that's what got him the head coaching job in Seattle. He was all over Brock. All those in cuts, and they just took him all away. Brock was paralyzed. And so I think initially in the Seattle game, mentally he was like, wow, this is a tough defense. Let's figure it out. And then eventually physically he was not right when Julian Love hit him and the toe injury happened, and then he got hit repeatedly in that game. I think we could see it right away physically. He could grip it and rip it. His feet were lined up. And then mentally, Arizona was giving him everything. They were trying to disguise what they were doing. And I say on that Kittle touchdown, I thought it was zone coverage, and it turned out to be man. I'm not sure how Brock deciphered that, except he's just big brain Brock. Look at the brain on Brock. It's like, wow. But I think this was the first time from start to finish in a complete game he was physically and mentally sharp 100%. So if you can keep this guy healthy, he's got the ability physically, but more than anything, he's got the processing power with his brain to figure it out. And even against the elite defenses in the NFL, he's going to make you pay.
Greg Papa with us. I know this is an unfair question, but I was asked it by somebody else the other day. Almost every week you've come on, we've sung, rightfully so, Kyle Shanahan's praises and everything he's dealt with. Hypothetically, if you had one coaching trophy that you could give out and it came down to Kyle Shanahan or Robert Saleh, who would you give it to this year?
Wow.
Right? Because I feel like I keep skipping.
Niners Coach of the Year.
Right. Like
Coach of the Year.
I just wonder if, no disrespect to any of our previous coordinators, but it really hit me. My goodness, the defense probably has been hit more than the offense, or at least it's right there. And I just feel like in years past, maybe the defense would have collapsed a heck of a lot more than it has. And Robert Saleh just deserves. It's so good to have him back.
Well, the good thing is you don't have to. I mean, whatever awards you want to, cut in half and give to each guy, they're both on your team.
Yes.
One runs your offense and one runs your defense. So basically, you have co-head coaches here, and Robert. And I was around him a little bit, going back to the spring when I was healthy, and we hollered at Saleh and we hugged it out, and I love the guy. But I could tell right away he's different. The experience that he had in Florham Park with that owner and that whole situation and Aaron Rodgers, and it just changed him. He's learned a lot. He's a quality man. He has tremendous wisdom. He's the one guy out there that's got more kids than me. How many's he got? Like 8? I don't even know what the hell he's got. But he's a great leader. He's patient, and he's tied this defense together, and he's coaching a bunch of youngins. It's been really hard, but he's tying them together. What Kyle did, though, was keep this team humming with a backup quarterback, a backup receiver, a backup wide tight end, backups everywhere, backup left guard. Now you're on, you're like your third left guard. And, the eligibles we always talk about. You got a quarterback and 5 offensive linemen. So the eligibles are running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. You get 5 of them. And they were changing every play. I mean, honestly, it was like, who are these people? Who is Marquez Valdez-Scantling? I remember him in Green Bay. What number does he wear? Who's Sky Moore? What? So I was like, how does he? It was like unbelievable. And they weren't putting up huge numbers, but they were making drives at the end of halves, at the end of games to win. So I think you can make the point Kyle's had his best coaching year he's ever had. And I go back to the 21 year when Kyle rebuilt the team mid-year, when he started incorporating Debo as a running back, when they had a lot of running back injuries then, and they ran, they called it Deadpool was the formation, and then, Levin Tyson was the personnel group, because or Levin Tyson is what they called it. Debo's given name is Tyson, but Kyle couldn't pronounce it, so he made him Mike Tyson. And 11 is 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, but the genius of 11 Tyson is one of your wide receivers is Debo Samuel. He's not a wide receiver. He's going to play running back. So everybody was in the wrong group to match up with that. But anyway, that year, and there was a Monday night game against the Rams. Debo went off in that game and had a big catch on a 4th down, and he ran all over them. If they had lost that game, Kyle told me before, if we lose this game, I'm going to play Trey Lance. I'm going to pull Jimmy, and we're just going to move on. But they won that game, and they wound up getting hot, and they wound up winning a bunch of games. And Jimmy had some injuries, and he wound up going all the way to the NFC Championship game in L.A. and, gave it away in the 4th quarter. So that year was Kyle kind of reorganizing the team dramatically mid-year, and they also moved Eric Armstead from defensive end back inside to D tackle. They made a lot of changes, and it worked, and they got hot. So that year was special. But this year from the start, with all the injuries and constant change in personnel and eligibles around, and now slowly you're getting Brock back. You're getting a healthy Jawan Jennings back. He's healing up. You're getting George Kittle back. You're getting Ricky Pearsall back. So let's roll. So right now, can Kyle's offense get you to 30 for Purdy or more, and can Saleh's defense keep you? I know Arizona, how many yards did they have? Like 5,000, I'd say. They had 500 yards. They still only scored 22 points in the game because you took it away from them 3 times when you had to. One right on the goal line when they were going in to score. And you jumped them early, and you allowed Kyle to play 49er football and run it down their throats. So if Saleh can keep them into the low 20s, then I think Kyle's offense will get you to enough to win, whether it's high 20s or 30s or whatever you need. 41, you got to get 41 I don't know about that, but you may not be required to do it. So the combination of Kyle and the way he's running the offense with everybody around him, and Saleh and the way he runs the defense, it's like you have co-head coaches right now. I think in any given game, you can beat anybody on this schedule. Now, you could lose to anybody, although I don't feel as much about it like that as I did early in the year. So I think you have a combination that could win. There's a formula with the combination of Kyle and the offensive coaches and Robert and the defensive coaches to win certainly enough to get you in the playoffs. If not, in fact, somehow figure out a way to conquer the West again, to win the NFC West.
The voice of the 49ers, the one, the only, the legend, Greg Papa, also sometime voice of the Causeway Classic as well.
Yeah, I looked it up too, Greg. Tony Washington in the 2008 Causeway, touchdowns of 29, 35, and 2, had 81 yards, 3 TDs, 4 catches, and the Hornet win over the Aggies.
Wow.
He only had 4 catches for 89 yards?
Yeah.
3 touchdowns.
Oh, but 3 were touchdowns. I thought he was really impressive. That was fun. So we got the Causeway Classic coming up this Saturday?
Yes.
That's right.
Where's the game going to be at?
It's back in Davis again this year.
Wow. Are you calling it, Chase?
I will be, yeah, for Sac State. Yep.
Wow. I assume? I don't even want to assume. Who's favored to win the game?
I think Davis is a less than a touchdown favorite. They are 7-3. Sac State is 7-4 going into the game.
Ooh, might be the last one too, Greg. It's the last one scheduled between the two of them.
Why? That's it? They're discontinuing it?
Well, Sac State's leaving the conference, and then they're a team without a conference right now. So it's a little wait and see here.
So what do we got? Ken O'Brien is the best player ever from Davis. Is that what we go?
I would say. I mean, he's in that 83 draft class.
I mean, JT O'Sullivan, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he's popular on social media. Adame Ojo, the receiver.
Open. He's wide ass open. Ken O'Brien. We had a mutual friend when I first moved to the Bay Area. The former mayor of Lafayette, California, the great Scott Tallon, the youngest mayor in the history of the United States. He was 21 years of age. He was tight with all those guys, and I hung out with those guys. Ken O'Brien was a really good-looking young man. He was like a male model type. He did, Marino was okay, and Tony Eason and Jim, but the best-looking of all of them by far was Ken O'Brien.
Yeah.
Whenever I was in his company, I'm like, dude, wow, you're like the best. He's better looking than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, whoa.
Wow,
what? Maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know, man.
Maybe not. Jimmy's the best looking person, man, or female, that I've ever been around in my entire life. Jimmy had that Italian glow about him. But Ken O'Brien, good looking man. How old's Ken? Ken's got to be, is he 60 now? Or
yeah, I would think so. That 83 draft class, yeah, it's got to be.
And then who's the best player out of Sac State?
Well, you got, right now, active, you got Scadaboo. Well, I know he's hurt, but he came from Sac State after
Didn't
Arizona
they produce
State.
some linebackers? Sac State's produced some linebackers.
Oh, yeah. Marte Mapu's on the Patriots now, but yeah, there's some.
Right.
Hey,
have a good call.
Thank you.
Touchdown, Hornets!
Hey!
Well, tape that one up. That's
exactly.
Love you, Greg. Talk
Thanks,
to you soon.
Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That's great. Greg Papa, we'll take a break. When we come back, what's on deck? 3 in the key. We'll recap. We'll knock one out for Kings Nuggets over the weekend. And then celebrity birthdays Friday. We got a lot to get to.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. We'll be back after this.
The San Francisco 49ers play on Sactown Sports 1140.
Touchdown 49ers!
Every game on your #1 sports station. Don't miss the action on your local sports leader. Sactown Sports 1140.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Future Ford.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. It is finally Friday. A cool, foggy start to be expected